What's good, everybody? Welcome into Inside the Green Room with Danny Green. I'm Harrison Sanford. You guys already know the vibes. Do us a quick favor, please. Hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're listening to us using your podcast app, preferably the Audacy app, give us a 5-star rating and review, please. We definitely do appreciate that. With that being said, let's get down to business, y'all. And part of business means complaining about the All-Star game like everybody else. We have to do it. I know you guys feel just like Danny and I feel. I don't know how Danny feels, but I have an idea how he feels. I'm going to say what I put on my X account. Danny, I watched the whole game and I didn't tweet the whole time. All I tweeted was at the end, like after 30 minutes after it was all over, I just tweeted that game was trash. And it was.
You didn't feel. I thought you were gonna say I lost a lot of time in my life that I would like to get back.
Let's just get straight to the point. That game was trash. That weekend is trash. All-Star weekend is cooked.
I wouldn't say so. I'm with you. The game was not good, right? I didn't watch the game, but I've seen enough to know. Mind you, I'm sure that what I've heard, there wasn't that much of the game to miss. There was a lot of talking. I'm talking after, before. A lot of showmanship. The weekend is great for people connections, vibes, all cool. But watching it is tough. Now
it's not a TV product.
The skills challenge,
trash.
Guys, it didn't do well. There's better ways to. I think the challenges, Mac McClung might need to extra payday for kind of bringing a little bit of life to it, energy. But the young guys being in the dunk contest, I like that part of it. But yes, the format was
Danny, no.
I like the young guys being included in it, though. It wasn't good. I'll give you that. But I think the young guys are trying to bring some more energy to it. You know what I'm saying? Wemby's trying to bring some seriousness to it. They're trying to hoop. They're trying to compete, and it's baby steps. It's got to start somewhere. And I know Draymond was on the mic talking about how saying that these young guys should be playing on Sunday. Probably that's the comments that I've heard. He wasn't a fan of it. But I think that gives the older guys some competition. They have some type of I wouldn't say edge, but competitive nature to them to try to outprove the old guys, and old guys trying to let the young guys know who's big dog. So I think it gives a little bit more competitiveness. But yes, the format, the result, it said it wasn't good for the first time around of doing it this way. But I said I like the fact that there's some pieces that you can look at and say, okay, maybe we can build off that, with the young guys.
You're better than me. They should be ashamed. The NBA should be ashamed, bro. I'm sorry. Yeah. I love Danny. I love the NBA. I do. I was not entertained. I I don't even know what was going on Friday. I didn't bother to watch. Mm-hmm. Sunday, I did. Sunday, I had people at my apartment watching the game, and we stopped looking at the game, and we just started talking. We didn't care. We did not
game night,
care.
Playing board games.
No, we were just having bro talk. It was just background. It was background noise. And then Saturday, make sure I say this correctly. Mac McClung deserves flowers. Mm-hmm. He is tremendous at what he does. He had some great dunks. But I'm also going to keep it real with who I am as a National Basketball Association fan. I don't care about Mac McClung. I don't. And let's keep it real. Most National Basketball Association fans don't care about Mac McClung. So as great as he can be, I don't care.
He's still Mac McClung. He's not a featured guy in the NBA. I get what you're saying. You could go. I can go somewhere in Brooklyn tonight, right? And I can go listen to. Name me a song. Name me an R&B song. Here, well, boom. I mean, Drake and P&D just came out with something.
I know. Okay, let's take "You Got It Bad." "You Got It Bad" by Usher, right? Mm-hmm. I can go somewhere in Brooklyn tonight, go to some live music thing where people are just performing just for an audience, just live music, just some random non-notable artists. And you know what's gonna happen, Danny? If I go listen to it, I'm like, oh, that he really sang that. He really sang that song well. I'm not coming back though. You know why? Because it's some random ass artist. I don't care. I don't care if you can dunk like Michael Jordan if you're not Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't.
So you're not going to download their
care.
album because they're singing somebody else's song well.
Exactly. Again, Mac McClung is what is good. He's really good. He is great at what he does, but we don't care, and that's the point. So I don't care about the slam dunk. We need the
top guys in the fucking. We need them in the dunk contest.
I don't care about the slam dunk contest. The All-Stars don't care about the All-Star game. The skills competition, I don't care about. Chris Paul apparently didn't care about the rules of the skills competition. So you take all of that.
That was Wemby's idea, by the way, supposedly.
Whoever idea was didn't work. End of the day, the whole weekend was trash. And now, as a basketball fan, the last games were played what? There was one game played Thursday. So I go Thursday without basketball, Friday without basketball, Saturday without basketball, Sunday without basketball, Monday without basketball, Tuesday without basketball. How many days of basketball am I supposed to miss because they don't care?
Well, we did do a week-long break. I mean, it is a break. It's a small break.
Yes, for a break from what? What exactly are we taking a break from?
The season. That's what All-Star break is about.
You don't get to take a break from the season when you're actually not participating in the weekend. If you're not going to participate in the weekend, just take the weekend off and come back, play games on Tuesday. Come back, play games on Monday. If you're not going to actually put any effort, any type of intensity towards anything that happens from Friday on through Sunday night, then take that weekend off and come back and play real basketball games Monday.
Sooner. So you're saying the weekend should be shorter now because nobody else is really participating?
If they're not going to take it seriously, fine. Do what you're going to do. I'm not about to force nobody to play seriously because apparently that doesn't work. So just take the weekend off and come back on Monday and start hooping again for real. You need more. You need break. They need a break from their break.
No. So the reason was because the All-Stars did play most of the time, but even then they have to be a part of activities. No real break for them. They don't get time for vacation. I get what you're saying, Age, don't be wrong. It is a long season. It doesn't have to be a full week. It can be, 6 days, 5 days, 5 days worth. But it was unfair to the All-Stars that have to participate, not really participate, but participate in the weekend, not have days off to themselves. So the only people that really had days off, the guys that are not a part of the weekend. So in order to make it fair for those guys that had to participate, they had to give extra days and also they used to do trade deadline right before All-Star break or right after All-Star break. It gave teams a chance to make the trades. It gave people a chance to acclimate to the new team and move and get traded and all those things. So maybe that should be part of the trade deadline. Should be that might give you more excitement. Make it a part of the weekend again.
I'm just saying, Danny, and I know as a player, as a former player, you could see it through their eyes. But who's the most important person in the NBA community? Me. Yeah, I'm the most important. I'm the one who's paying the money to get the streaming services. I'm the person who's paying the money to go to the games. I'm the person who is betting on the sport. I am an NBA fan and I'm displeased. I'm not happy. Y'all need to fix it.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of things there's a lot of things that need to be fixed. And it's not just All-Star Weekend. But All-Star Weekend does need to be better. And the only way they can do that, they talked about doing the one-on-one thing, All-Star Weekend. A lot of guys said they'd be down for it. You got to get the superstars involved and actually participate. You can talk about the LeBron James sitting out situation everybody's been talking about.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is. But ultimately, you got to get some of the stars in the dunk contest because, mind you, there aren't many dunks you can do. But seeing those guys do the dunks, that's what people want to see. Seeing the top three-point shooters in it and actually do it the right way. Seeing the top skills challenge guys in it and actually do it the right way. That's what people want to see. It really starts from the top down.
Yeah, At this point, Danny, honestly, if they're not going to take it seriously, just have them do a podcast. I'm serious. I have them do like a fireside chat. The most entertaining thing that I've seen, basketball related, over the past 72, 96 hours has been watching the documentary on Netflix about the Olympic, about this past year's Olympic, the Chase for Gold, where they go behind the scenes with Team Canada and Serbia and United States, and the documentary about the Dream Team and how they lost to the scrimmage team. That's been the most entertaining thing I've seen. So fine, if the players don't want to play, just have them do like a real sit-down podcast style interview where they really get into basketball. Because I was entertained by the documentary, but I wasn't entertained by what they're actually doing on the court. And I know I'm speaking for millions of people. I know it's not just me. It's a problem. Yeah. It's got to be fixed. And I will say this, though, to your point, I do think the one-on-one competition could work, because I think here's a problem. And I know there's some people who say, why don't you just USA versus the world? I don't think it's going to work either. Because, and you maybe could speak on this, when you have 5-on-5 and you don't want to play defense, homie over there going to play defense. And you know what homie over there thinks? I ain't going to play defense because homie over there going to play defense.
When it's one-on-one, your defense get exposed.
And when it's one-on-one, you have nobody else but yourself. And I think that's the only way to compel the competitive spirit of some of these players to come out, because you can't rely on anybody else but yourself. I honestly would put the one-on-one competition on Sunday night, Saturday night. You hope John Morant wasn't capping. You hope Zach LaVine wasn't capping. You hope Aaron Gordon wasn't capping. And they actually do the slam dunk competition. And that's that.
Yeah. That's one way to try to fix it. It'll make it a lot better, I'll tell you that. A lot more people would want to tune in or will tune in and be excited to see what those guys have in store for whatever it is whatever challenges you'll bring forth.
Yeah, and maybe even the Saturday night, it's like maybe it's like a 3-on-3 that turns into a 2-on-2 that turns into a 1-on-1. I don't know, some way, somehow. And I also have to agree with Draymond Green. Again, this is going to sound bad, but I have to speak from the mindset of the fans. They don't care about Dalton Connect on Sunday. Nobody's trying to see Dalton Connect on Sunday. I'm sorry. So I'm barely trying to see them. I'm barely trying to see them on Friday. I understand you got to create like a feeder system, but no, nobody's trying to see him on Sunday. And again, Danny, the problem is most of these guys don't want to take on the limelight of being a star. They want to get paid like stars, but they don't want the responsibility of being a star, of being an ambassador for the game.
That's everybody, though, man. That's everybody. Nobody wants the fame. Everybody rather have the money and the perks without the fame, because they don't want the disadvantages. They don't want to be bothered. They don't want to have the responsibility to, upkeep something or to, bring something to another level.
Here is one of those culprits, one of those guys who does not want the pressure or the responsibility of being an ambassador for the game. I'm so disappointed in this man. Anthony Edwards, listen to this.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. You can and will be that guy.
Well, I'm capable of being that guy, but I don't want to be that guy. Put it like that. I want to be the guy to just show up and hoop and just kill dudes and go home.
You got it.
I mean, that's just for him, I think it sounds crazy, but it's a sign of maturity in a sense, where he's comfortable where he's at, where he doesn't feel like he needs to prove anything to anybody. And, maybe that's because I come from the San Antonio background where they're silent killers. They don't care to have showmanship or be this or be that or marketing, the Tim Duncans, the Kawhi Leonards of the world. And maybe that's what he idolizes. But there's ways of going about that and doing it that way and still can be the face of the league. So I don't know. I think he is humbly saying this. I think his approach and how he does things is different because when he shows up on that court and when he plays, when he does his commercials, when he shows up to the events, he's being the guy and he's trying to be that guy, So, but in a sense, I think he doesn't want to be the look at me guy. Like, I'm always want you to want the attention all the time. So might be disappointing to the fans or average fan, but I see part of where he comes from, and I think his mindset will change as time goes on. But I think this is him speaking humbly. I think we're hoping that he's just speaking humbly.
I'm disappointed in Anthony Edwards. I'm disappointed because he has. It's one thing if you didn't have the game or the personality to be the first person to be the face of the league. Mm-hmm. He has both of those things in ample supply. He's easily one of the most entertaining people to watch, and he's easily one of the more entertaining people to listen to. It just is what it is. So him not wanting that responsibility or kind of pushing it away is just a damn shame. The opportunity that's in front of him is so grand. I don't even think he sees it. And yet, here is the problem, Danny. Here's the problem. Mm-hmm. The way players get played so much now, it really is just like, I'm going to collect the check and I can go home. I don't have to do anything
in
else.
Between. Yeah. The sponsor, a lot of guys ate off just the sponsorships was a whole nother contract for you. And it's like, that was a big deal. So the marketing side of it, the branding side of it was huge. When you get these $300, $400 million contracts.
That's it.
Yeah. I don't need
That's it.
But even
I don't
still,
need to do nothing else.
In my mind, yes, there's always more than enough. You can have enough money, but there's never too much money. And I feel like people understand what they're missing out on and what they can make. If I can make another extra $100 million off the court, I think guys will take advantage of that. They will know, like, all right, it's a branding thing as well. Even the guys that don't play, so, I mean, we could bring up Bronny James. He don't have to, like, branding all is for him. Off the court, even if he wasn't NBA, he'd make a good amount of money. There's guys like that from the college standpoint. Even on the women's side, we had discussions, debates about it, of how huge it is. These top stars, I think, understand and know as well that there is another bag to get off the court if they do it the right way.
We're in a bad spot, Danny. We're in a bad spot because honestly, I honestly don't know if there's anybody. True. Damn, I'm about to say this.
Yep.
I'm gonna say it. I honestly don't know if we have a player in the NBA right now that's at a star level, that's not past his prime like LeBron's, KD, Steph, that actually cares about the health of the game. I don't know if we have a player in his prime or entering his prime that actually cares about the health of the National Basketball Association going forward.
There's a few, but I don't think you see.
I'm talking about star level.
Superstars, superstar level.
Yeah, you might have
stars.
a six man somewhere. You might have a six man somewhere who cares, but I don't think we have a superstar level player that cares about the health of the NBA.
I think you'd be surprised. It's not a high percentage, but I think there's a good percentage of guys like the Devin Bookers, the Donovan Mitchells of the world, the Jalen Brunsons, like that care about. Now, you look at the younger generation, it's a little tough to say. You're looking at, we have to see where LaMelo is at. Zion is tough, and Edwards, Ja, like those guys that we're looking at, they're a little younger. Wemby cares. Wemby's a guy that cares about the health of the NBA. So there are some, but not as many as we're used to seeing, and that's where the disappointment lies. Everybody that was in an all-star game in the early 2000s, they all was great. And I think all these guys are appreciative, but they were hungry, grateful, and showed their appreciation for the guys who paved the way before them and wanted to be known as top dog and wanted the league to continue to pursue and grow and get better. And you can see the frustration, even when they talk in their podcasts. You see KG and Paul Pierce talking it. Stack, Matt Barnes, all these guys talk the game about how guys are not being professional, and they've done too much to see guys act that way. So that's where you see old guys get frustrated. Shaq, Charles, they've been a part of those, early years, the grind of, getting us these checks that we're seeing now. There are some, but back then it was like a high percentage. 90% of guys came to work and loved their job and was happy to do so. Now it's guys, they happy about it. I don't know if they love it. I don't know if they care about the well-being, because the money is such a big difference. The money is so massive, you don't even care about the job no more. You don't care about the industry anymore. You care about the job, but you don't care about the industry. Yeah. And that's that, unfortunately. I will say this though, and it's a shame because of all the bashing I've just done about the NBA, which I hate to do, but I gotta keep it real. It's a shame because the talent level in the NBA right now is off the charts. Very talented. Very talented.
When you were in your prime, how many dudes could do the Euro step? 10.
Yeah, it was all Europeans really. It's only like James Harden and a couple of Europeans. That was not a thing in high school, college, or even in the league at that moment where guys could even pull that off. Might pop a hip doing that, Now it's a part of everyone's package. Step back, which is a double step back now. Obviously, the game is being refereed very, very differently now too, which I like and dislike at the same time. But there's a lot of freedoms with how guys are using steps and movements and carrying the ball and stepping back. I think the older guys aren't a fan of that, but it makes it very hard to guard when you have those moves in your package and able to get away with a couple, nifty maneuvers.
Even from a shooting standpoint, like what you were doing, like there's so many more players who could, not saying they do, but who could do that now in terms of a shooting standpoint. Like
way more. Everybody has to do it now. Yeah. Before it was a special, like you were a specialist. Now it's like you can't play unless you were able to shoot the ball, and that's 1 through 5. Like you have to have at least a mid-range, shoot free throws. There was a lot of guys that didn't have to shoot the ball well and was very effective.
Mm-hmm. There is an opportunity for this game to get to another level, especially with all the international influence now, all the great international players that we see now. So I don't want to rule out that the NBA is growing. I don't want to rule out that like things could move in a positive phase. I don't want to be negative and pessimistic about the NBA. I do not, because I love the NBA. However,
don't we all?
I need somebody, some players to take the mantle and say the NBA is going into an even greater age than what it is right now or what it was under my leadership, under my stardom. That's
at least not even greater, but at least back to where it was. At least as good as when it was at its best. Greater would be nice. But yes.
Where it has the opportunity to, because the players are just better, it has an opportunity to be better. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and because you have all these international players as well, you can actually potentially have some some rivalries because some players didn't come up in the AAU system and be all buddy. But again, when you're getting paid a lot of money, it's hard to be mad. And that's what's going on. It's hard to care when
it's hard to care a lot. Then it's a big check. Yeah, it's hard to care.
With that being said, I think we are still going to very much. And yes, it's that type of how would I say this? That type of disinterest is magnified during All-Star Weekend because the games and the results actually don't matter. I will say this, even with all that being said, second half of the season is going to be absolutely fire.
Yeah.
and when we come back from break, Danny and I will give our predictions for the second half of the season. This is Inside the Green Room. You know what time it is. This is Inside the Green Room with Danny Green. I'm Harrison Sanford. The second half of the season is finally here. We're recording this on Wednesday as Luka Doncic and LeBron James take on the Chicago. Oh, I almost said the Chicago Bears. I missed the take on the Charlotte Hornets with LaMelo Ball and Mark Williams, who recently came out in the media and said that he thought he didn't fail the physical. Going to be interesting to see that. And in general, in this segment, we will point out some of the things that we think are going to be very interesting for the second half of the season. It could be a team of intrigue. It could be a player of intrigue. It could be a team that's going to rise up. It could be a team that's going to fall away. And my most important thing that I am watching the most in the second half of the season, Danny, and I know this is not the popular thing, but I truly feel that this is something to watch. The Los Angeles Clippers. What Ty Lue has them doing so far this season must be noted. As it presently stands, 31-23 on the season. They have won their last 3 games, 6-4 in the last 10. One of the top 5 teams in terms of net rating when they look at the defensive side of the ball. If you look at their defensive rating, a spectacular team. And as great as they've been defensively, they still have people that can score the ball. James Harden, Norm Powell scoring over 24 points per game. Kawhi Leonard, as quiet as kept, they've been able to kind of slowly get him into the flux. And I will say this, Danny, and I know you have your thoughts about Ben Simmons. But I watch how he played with them in their last game before the break. He fits. He works. And I think because you already have a James Harden, he can play somewhat of a Draymond Green,
there you go.
A Draymond kind of role, and you still have another defender with him in Kawhi Leonard that can guard the perimeter. Zubac is a very strong big man. James Harden has elevated his game because of the pick and roll option. I think, Danny, if you look at a healthy starting 5 of James Harden, Norm Powell, Kawhi Leonard, Ben Simmons, and Ivica Zubac, they can beat anybody. And I said, and I'm going to say it with my chest, the Clippers can beat anybody in the Western Conference. They're my most interesting team for the second half of the season.
I like that. That is a good pick. And I was not even thinking, and I do like Ben in that situation. The toughest part is get him in, stay healthy, be healthy, want it. Those are a lot of different motivations. We don't know what the motivations are. So there's a lot of ifs with him. But I think when he's playing who he is, he's a very good piece to have on any group. And with those guys especially, because he can defend, he can pass, he can kick, he can push the break. Rebound, push. He can screen. He can screen for James. He can screen for Kawhi and roll and play that Draymond role, like that Jimmy Butler situation in Golden State. So yes, that is a great interest. And obviously I think the most interesting are very given because everybody's watching them. Everybody wants to see what these two teams do. It all depends on Anthony Davis's health and Luka Doncic's conditioning, right? Everyone see how well Luka and Bron play together. Everyone see what Dallas is going to do and how they're going to win out because Nico's under a lot of pressure, it seems now, to win now. And if AD is not healthy, you're not looking too good in that win now situation. And of course, the comments of he wasn't going to be here 10 years from now, didn't care about the late, like going to be buried at that point. That burial might come sooner than later, if that doesn't happen. So those two teams are the main two teams that are interested in, I think, for everybody that's looking and myself to watch. But outside of them, there's a couple teams that very much interest me in the East and West. But those are the main two right now that are probably a number one list. I'm going to have them / together.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Will I watch Lakers game? You best believe I'm going to watch the Lakers. Will they be entertaining? For sure they're going to be entertaining. But I already know how it's going to end. Not in a championship because at the end of the day, they don't have what it takes on the interior. I looked at it before the show. They are bottom 5 in points allowed in the paint. And that's with having Anthony Davis majority of the season. What's going to happen now with no AD? I don't care how good LeBron James is. I don't care how good Luka Doncic is. If you need to have serviceable big men. They don't. It's going to end And it's going to end abruptly too. It's going to
I know they're not going to win a championship. Jackson Hayes is solid, but I still want to see how Bron and Luka play together. That's the most interesting. Yeah. And then Dallas, from the standpoint, is are they going to be healthy enough because they have the pieces to win now? That's why they're the most intriguing.
Dallas does have the pieces. I will give you that. I'm impressed by the depth of their roster, but in order for that depth to actually be visualized, they actually have to be healthy, and I don't know if that's going to happen. So that's number one. Number two for me, Danny, the thing that has captured my attention the most. It's a damn shame what is going on in Phoenix, bro. Like this is nasty work. A team and a team with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker isn't even in the play-in right now. They are a game and a half behind the Warriors for the 10th seed. And you add in the fact that they wanted or were trying to convince Bradley Beal to waive his no-trade clause. They were taking calls on Kevin Durant. They fired Frank Vogel to bring in Mike Budenholzer, and that's not working. And Devin Booker's been there for a while, and it hasn't been too long since Devin Booker was actually in the finals. Now he must be looking around like, what the hell happened to what we had? And then you have the new owner coming in. It's such nasty work for this team to be in this predicament. And I know, like, if we're being honest, they weren't supposed to be in the finals, but it's not supposed to be this bad. And it is. And I'm watching Kevin Durant here, and I'm saying to myself, is Kevin Durant even going to be in the play-in? Is Devin Booker, are they not even going to be like that's and as much, and I hate to do legacy talk, but we're going to do it. This is a stain on Kevin Durant's legacy. Whether, maybe we had too high expectations for them for actually being an NBA Finals team. It is what it is. But for you, with the playoff field expanded now, technically, to 10 teams. To 10 teams, Danny.
Yeah.
And you're not in the play. This is a stain. This is one of the worst stains in his legacy. You have to, at the very least, be a playing team. And that really might not happen. That's crazy.
Well, they talked about how great of a season he's having, which he is, and his numbers are unbelievable, but he hasn't been healthy enough to help them win enough games. And even when he is healthy, early on they started off well. They played well with him. They're not good enough, and they haven't won as of late. Early on, they with him, they were a very winning record. The second third of the season, they haven't looked as good, even with him. And that's just them trying to figure it, and it doesn't look good at all. But yes, that is a tough one. They unfortunately not in my top two or top three of like teams interesting to watch or interested to see what's happening. For me,
I'll just say this, like, you can't be this great and your team be this bad.
You're 16 though, my man.
No.
It's a lot different. Your body, he's 7 foot. Most 7 footers ain't supposed to last that long in the league, bro. Even Steph Curry is not in his best years of himself. Year 16, it was year 17 for Kevin Durant.
You can't be this good and your team be this bad. Point blank. We can list all the reasons. We can make all the excuses. At the end of the day, you're supposed to win basketball games, bro. I don't care. You could average 40 points a game, shoot 50% from the field. I don't care. Are you winning basketball games? And they don't win. And they don't win basketball games. Like, yo, Danny, the Sacramento Kings have a better record.
Yeah.
Then stop it now. Like, no.
And they made a lot of trades. They got rid of De'Aaron Fox. They did, which was a bad trade. They didn't get a good trade from that one.
The record of the Phoenix Suns is unbecoming of a Hall of Fame first ballot player.
And you can't change coaching staffs right now, right? It's not the coach staff, right? Because coach staff last year, this year has not made any difference.
And then you start to look. Last year they got swept. Brooklyn was a disaster. You never got to the promised land with OKC. The only time you won anything is when you joined one of the best teams of all time. Like, again,
they get to the finals. He did get to the finals with OKC. He got to the finals, but he didn't win one, no.
And your disappointment in not winning in OKC provoked you to join the team that was beating you. Like, I'm sorry. Like, he's great. He's great. But this is beneath him.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, so my number 2, I got 2 other teams that are most interesting to watch that I'm like, they're better than I thought they would be, but I don't know how good. I don't know if they're in contention, but they might be in the playoffs. It's going to be interesting in a play-in. Well, one of the teams is for sure going to be in the playoffs, but the Golden State Warriors is the first half in the West of my number 2. So I have 2 halves for West and East for my numbers anyway. So Golden State in the West is the team that I'm thinking is going to be very interesting to watch. And then in the East, it's going to be Milwaukee Bucks. I'm wondering when Giannis comes back, how that Kuz situation makes them look. And these 2 teams, the Bucks are in the playoffs. Now, Golden State wasn't in the first. Now they're in the play-in. They should be in the play-in, and they should be in the playoffs with Jimmy. But these are the other 2 teams that I have on the list that are, what are we going to see? What are they going to do the second half of the season? They have to turn it up, and they have to show me something to make it seem like these trades were worthwhile.
I think the Warriors thing is interesting for sure. You and I talked about it last show. When Kuminga comes, how does that work? It's going to be a fascinating watch.
That's what I'm interested to see.
Yeah, I like Kyle Kuzma for the Bucks for the sheer fact that he's available more than Chris Middleton. But Kyle Kuzma is not going to be guarding Donovan Mitchell. No. Kyle Kuzma is not going to be guarding Jalen Brunson. Kyle Kuzma is not going to be guarding Tyrese Halliburton, even though Halliburton's game kind of fell off. Like, he did not fix their biggest issue, in my opinion. The biggest problem, he's not fixing it. He makes them better at what they were, but he's not changing. He's not changing anything. As good as a fit as I think he is. And lastly, Danny, my most important thing to watch, and I'm going to be a little bit of a homer here. Mitchell Robinson on the New York Knicks. I honestly feel, Danny, that his addition to this lineup, potentially coming as a starter, if not very much an often used rotation player, really expands the roster. It allows Cat to play some more minutes at the 4, which means Josh Hart can play more minutes at the 3, which means OG Anunoby can play more minutes at the 2. I think it gives him finally some length. It gives him some interior strength on the inside. He's a guy who can help rebound and defend, and they're going to need a more interior presence. It allows them to have a more duality in their offense because all of a sudden Karl-Anthony Towns can now post up 4s. Karl-Anthony Towns posting up a 4 in the Eastern Conference is going to be barbecue chicken alert. The only thing that I but I'm hesitant to get super excited about the Knicks is because if you look at the standings as it presently stands, they are in a crash course to see the Boston Celtics in the second round because I don't think anybody's catching Cleveland. No. And they don't, as it presently stands.
They get their ass kicked every time they see the Celtics. Sorry to say it. Sorry to see it. They just don't have enough. And Mitchell Robinson may help some, but he ain't changing it that much. And for some reason, Cat just maybe it might take the load off Cat some because he just doesn't perform well against that group. But Boston this year has their number and very much that number so in their back pocket, front pocket, all pockets. They got their number. They've been kicking their ass.
We'll see. The Knicks will play the Celtics on Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN.
And Mitchell Robinson will be healthy?
Well, Mitchell Robinson on Wednesday was cleared for 5-on-5, and he participated on 5-on-5 along with OG Anunoby. So there is another level this team can go. I don't know if it can be today, as in he practiced today, 5-on-5. I don't know if it's going to be good enough to beat the Celtics in the second round, but
It'll help.
The opportunity is there. Yeah, for sure.
It'll help.
I'm
the best bet was catching the Celtics in the third round when they weren't their healthiest, probably. Second round, I think they're gonna be still kind of fresh.
Yeah, I know Tibbs and those guys they have too much pride. They'll never do it. But Danny, if they could somehow just fall to the 4 seed, I would feel so much better. I would feel so much better. But they're not going. They're not built that way, and I salute them for that. But
I mean, there's not many teams to catch him, right? Who else is going to catch him?
They're five.
My team.
They're 5.5 games ahead of the Pacers for the 3 seed. So it's locked.
It's very
locked.
clear. Yeah. So another team that I had is my number one team to watch. Is going to be most interesting. Is in the East, and they can't make up that many games. Is the Orlando Magic. I think they're going to be one of the teams when fully healthy with Paolo and Franz. I don't know who they're going to match up with, but that first round is going to be hell. Going to be hell. So whoever it is, your beloved Knicks might want to avoid them too, because that is a team. That is a team. With knowing how your Mitchell Robinson is up back and forth, and how Tibbs runs these guys, your top 7 3-man rotate. You guys are top 7 in 3-man rotations in the league in minutes. If you're not 100% healthy, you don't have all your guns, your dogs. It's gonna be a fight.
They've beaten the Magic every time so far this season, I believe, easily.
Without Franz and Paolo.
Yeah,
Magic. 2 All-Stars are missing from the lineup.
Yeah, I recognize the Orlando Magic as a quality team. They're gonna have to show me though. But I understand where you're coming from. But I do think all those things, for the most part, are very much interesting. I still have my doubts about the Cleveland Cavaliers as a playoff team. We'll see how they perform this time around. I don't think there's too much more left to be said. Obviously, the Western Conference is really where the drama is, and I think things will continue to develop. Houston Rockets have seen maybe a little slide here as we went into the All-Star break. I do think the Denver Nuggets are a team to watch as well. I think they're finally getting into shape. And I do think this too, Danny, while Shai Gilgeous-Alexander too many seems like the MVP, if the Nuggets get that 2 seed and jump the Memphis Grizzlies, they're only a half game behind. And you add in the fact that Shai is now going to be bringing in Chet Holmgren, another all-star level player, while meanwhile it's still Nikola Jokic leading the force there in Denver. I do think that Nikola Jokic, I don't know if he'll win, but he's 100% a great bet to win MVP. The man is 3rd in scoring. He's top 5 in scoring, rebounds, and assists, and shoots the 2nd best from the 3-point line in the entire league. I understand a lot of people want to give the MVP to the best player on the best team, and that's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but you cannot, and nobody can, tell me anybody is more valuable. Underscore, embolden the word valuable to his team than Nikola Jokic. I'd place a bet on him.
I couldn't disagree. I'm with you. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. But we'll see. So those are teams that I expect to turn it up as well. I expect Denver to turn it up. I expect OKC being fresh, Cleveland turn it up, Boston. Those young teams get a little break now. They had a great start to the season. Teetered off a little bit in the last month or so. But now they're refreshed with a week off that you said they didn't participate in a damn anything. I think it'll be a good second half of the season for those groups.
Yeah. Should be a fun second half of the season for sure. Danny and I will be back next week as we continue to move forward towards the push for the playoffs. Do us a favor, read, rate, subscribe, review. I think I just spoiled the ending, but Danny, you can say
all good. You know what to do. Read, rate, subscribe, review. Peace.